It's Tuesday, October 29, 2024. Let's take a look at the headlines making waves in the Nigerian dailies of today. Let's begin with the Punch. The bolder headline says, "No work, no pay dispute. Federal government invites unions as strike grounds universities." You can turn to page 7 for the complete story. And beside the nameplate, ground rent, FCT issues Tinubu Akume, ex-governor's 2-week ultimatum. Below that, federal government needs 19 trillion naira to complete 2,604 roads, according to Umahi. And below that, OPay leads the future of secure payment with Bafi award win. You can see the details of the story on page 54 of the paper. Below the picture, North blackout. 19 governors meet, President deploys troop against vandals. On page 53, Northern governors oppose Tinubu's planned tax reform. And on page 4 and 5, students reject FCET's 10,000 naira fine for violent protests. Ghana eyes fuel imports from Dangote refinery. You can turn to page 53 for the complete story. Away from that, let's take a look at Daily Trust, where the bolder headline says, "Northern governors, monarchs reject tax reform bills." The full story is found on page 4 of the paper. And below the nameplate, FCTA begins clamp down on beggars, arrest 15. Beside that, bandits kill 4 farmers in Sokoto. Naseni Imose roll out made in Nigeria laptops and tablets. Get turn to page 7 for the complete story. Below the picture, will restore electricity to northern states in 5 days, says federal government. Rodri Bomati, a 2024 Ballon d'Or winners. NAF airstrikes eliminate scores of terrorists in Borno. Police grill lawmaker over assault on Bolt's driver. Let's take a look at The Guardian, where the bolder headline says, "Electricity crisis hits Niger, others as federal government deploys military to protect assets." The full story is found on page 6 of the paper. And beside the picture, we've lost income to 5 months blackout by Yelso resident and MSMEs lament. The full story is found on page 7 of the paper. And below that, on page 7, Obaseki says future extension workers will emerge from Agric College. Below the picture, CBN IFC sealed $1 billion deal on local currency financing. The full story is found on the business page 15 of the paper. CJN and JC launch probe into conflicting judgment on Rivers dispute. Manchester City's Rodri beats Vinicius Jr. to Ballon d'Or. The full story is found on the panorama page 2 of the paper. And beside that, on page 5, presidency chides Obasanjo for criticizing Tinubu. Abbas seeks equal citizenships for foreigners married to Nigerian women. Can turn to page 4 for the complete story. Let's take a look at Vanguard, where the bolder headline says, "Withheld pay. SSANU, NASO shuts down varsities nationwide." You can turn to page 5 for the complete story. And beside the picture, Senate screens ministerial nominees today after clearance by DSS. The full story is found on page 8 of the paper. And below that, on page 9, power failure. Federal government mills establishment of state and regional grids. Access Corporation plans dollar capital raising offers. The full story is found on page 19 of the paper. And on blackout, Tinubu directs Power Minister NSA to restore electricity in North. You can turn to page 8 for the complete story. To wrap up is the Nigerian Tribune, where the bolder headline says, "Northern governors reject tax reform bill." The full story is found on page 15 of the paper. And above the nameplates, Rivers, CJN summons FHCCJ to be quizzed today. Indicted governors to know fate this week. The full story is found on page 3 of the paper. And beside that, Southeast lawmakers may move to block screening of ministerial nominees. The full story is found on page 15 of the Nigerian Tribune. And beside the picture in blackout, federal government plans alternative solutions for northern states. Court orders final forfeiture of multi-million naira hotel linked to Nelms ex-VC. The full story is on page 3 of the paper. And below that, according to NMA, 15,000 doctors exited Nigeria due to poor remuneration. Below the picture, police interrogate REPS member over assault on boat driver, and Obaseki says we've improved lives of Edo people, restored hope of youth. That's the headlines making waves in the Nigerian dailies of today. If any of these headlines caught your attention, do well to get a copy of the paper and read the full story on the identified pages.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts on Facebook, Housing TV Africa, on Twitter, Housing TV Africa, Instagram, Housing TV Africa. Join the conversation and keep up with latest housing updates.